The Manticore is a mystery that is yet to be answered in the Camp Cretaceous lore, with Season 2 barely touching on the bioengineering company who were first revealed in Season 1 and established as major rivals with Mizrani Global, the company that made Jurassic World. With the third season of Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous on the horizon, will we learn more about this mystery company, and more importantly, will some of their work enter the show? We first heard of Manticore through the character of Sammy, who actually visited the camp under more shady circumstances than the rest of the group, having been tasked with collecting genetic material for them.
I'm here to spy for a company called Manticore.
When this information is shared with the rest of the campers, Darius is quick to point out that the company had once tried to make dinosaurs themselves, but Dr. Wu beat them to it, stating that they are now large rivals with Mizrani Global. As we mentioned in our previous video on the subject, the name Manticore is a play on the mythical chimera of Persian legend, the Manticore, a beast with the body of a lion, the head of a man, and the tail of poisonous quills like that of a scorpion. The Manticore are a bioengineering company, and they use both a child and a drone to sneak dinosaur DNA and evidence off of Isla Nublar. We don't know the full extent of their desires, but one thing is clear: they're after dinosaur DNA and use the character of Sammy to collect it and smuggle a USB device out of Dr. Wu's lab and send it back to them via that drone. The show is a cartoon, so you can suspend your disbelief for some of it, but drones don't have a long enough distance to be controlled from the shores of Costa Rica, so it's relatively safe to say that Manticore must have had a ship somewhere off the coast of the island out of detection. They could have had a base somewhere on the island, but it's likely they wouldn't have been able to remain there undetected for very long. Perhaps they were stationed nearby on a ship, or even on one of the 5 deaths. While Manticore's presence on the island is seemingly unknown, it does appear that they had already infiltrated Jurassic World and some of the staff members who work there. We see that with the character of Eddie, who mentions, "Wu got greedy and instead of dinosaurs he built monsters," and goes on to say, "Mizrani, daring, they're all clueless about what's really going on here, and after everything I did for the other guys." When Brooklyn asks him to clarify, he dismisses it. This is a clear hint that Eddie is involved in espionage with a company outside of Mizrani, and while it could be the unauthorized skunkworks projects that Wu did for InGen and Vic Hoskins, or even Biosyn, it very likely refers to Manticore. Season 2 even reveals that he managed to get his hands on a skeleton key for Jurassic World before his untimely demise. But who are Manticore, and what is their greater agenda? The fact that they are big rivals with Mizrani could mean that they've been around a lot longer too, and may have been after InGen's DNA before Simon Mizrani came into the fray. They could have been after InGen's precious genetic material, much like Biosyn were with Dennis Nedry, or perhaps they are newer to the scene and tried to create their own Jurassic Park knockoff park, but Dr. Wu beat them to it with Simon Mizrani. Sammy's introduction on how she became involved with the company leaves a lot to the imagination, but she states,
"Our ranch was in trouble, so my folks had to borrow a lot of money from some shady people. We didn't know they were fronting for Manticore. They said we'd lose everything unless I spied for them. Use the behind-the-scenes access I'd get at camp to gather info from Wu's lab and DNA from dinos and whatever else they needed."
So Manticore is a big corporation with deep pockets and even deeper connections. A rival to InGen that's willing to commit espionage and blackmail a child into doing so. Most curiously, these all sound like traits of another rival company, Biosyn, and we're left wondering if there is more to that connection waiting to be revealed. We know that the bioengineering company Biosyn are making their long-awaited debut in the upcoming Jurassic World Dominion, which tells us that the world of Jurassic now contains many companies attempting to breed dinosaurs and experimenting with prehistoric life. Fallen Kingdom showed some of Jurassic World's surviving dinosaurs auctioned off to various entities and eventually making their way around the globe, so new types of dinosaurs from new companies are going to happen and will likely start popping up. Connections to Biosyn or not, this company's interest in espionage right before the all-new hybrid, the Indominus Rex, is revealed at Jurassic World does not seem coincidental. It is very possible their interests lie specifically in hybrids, and they may have already acquired the data they need to make their own from Sammy's sinister smuggling. The floodgates are open for dinosaurs. They're going open source, and with new genetic companies comes new styles and desires for these animals that were once just known as genetically engineered theme park monsters.
Nothing more and nothing less.
Perhaps if Biosyn is the Apple to InGen's Microsoft, introducing more elegant and accurate dinosaurs into the equation, Manticore is the generic wholesale competitor to both, the Linux distribution if you will, adaptable, affordable and accessible, but perhaps clunkier and less true to nature with its results. We made an assumption that Manticore has some hybrid dinosaurs of their own being cooked up in labs, perhaps waiting to wreak havoc in Season 3. Could the mystery dinosaur, the E750, be part of Manticore's dealings with Dr. Wu, Eddie, and Masrani scientists? It is worth noting, but this does seem highly unlikely as E750's containment was housed within proper Jurassic World Park facilities, which would obviously be known to more than a few park staff. And if Manticore had a sweetheart deal with Wu and Hoskins, what on earth would they need Sammy for? All the same, E750 is about to be unleashed in Season 3, with the ending of Season 2 teasing its breakout from containment, and the Season 3 teaser showing us that it is now roaming around on the island. E750 is some form of hybrid dinosaur that sounds very much in tune with the Indoraptor, but could possess similar traits to that of the mythical creature, the Manticore, though perhaps this connection is only an Easter egg for fans, especially if the creature is a creation of great interest to Manticore. While details of Season 3 are sparse, we're left to wonder if Manticore's omission from the second season was intentional to help build more suspense surrounding the company and leave the audience wondering how they will eventually play a part. We don't know much about Season 3, but the campers are still isolated on the island and this time with an all-new threat. That threat, now released from whatever containment it had previously been in, would be a desired asset for rival companies, meaning Manticore could finally make their presence known in the third season, threatening the fragile ecosystem on the island. The timeline of Camp Cretaceous has it taking place at the same time of Jurassic World, with Season 2 picking up after the island has been evacuated. If Yaz's blackboard is anything to follow, several weeks have now passed and we are now rapidly approaching the opening of Fallen Kingdom, where a team ordered by Dr. Wu returns to the island, specifically to the lagoon, which has been conveniently repositioned, in order to retrieve a sample from the remains of the Indominus Rex. This sequence takes place roughly 6 months after Jurassic World, according to the script. Perhaps that very team were there to retrieve the E750, the Indoraptor prototype, and perhaps the organization was Manticore itself, taking advantage of their vulnerable position, with Dr. Wu having been stripped of his credentials. There are several hints in the film that the mercenaries may have been on the island longer than is shown, with work lights scattered around the lagoon. They seem to have been working to restore power for at least a day. If our campers were still on the island at this point, it is entirely possible that they cross paths with the mercenaries and may even get rescued by them. But instead of actually taking them to safety, could they possibly take them as prisoners to keep them quiet about what they've seen? This is all speculation, but something that could take place towards the end of the third season, which obviously would allow the E750 plot to play out, and maybe Season 4 sees the kids off the island, held as captives in Manticore's hideaway. We saw a similar story appear in the 2004 John Sayles Jurassic Park 4 script, which took place in the Swiss Alps. This is all speculation, of course, but nonetheless, it is very exciting to think of the ramifications of Manticore finally appearing in the series after the company's mysterious setup in the first season. All that considered, the third season of Camp Cretaceous is going to be an exciting one, with some big reveals that, according to Colin Trevorrow, will connect to Jurassic World Dominion. Do you think we'll finally be seeing Manticore in Season 3, and do you think they have something to do with the E750 hybrid? Let us know down below in the comments section, and if you like this video, hit that like button, and if you aren't already, then subscribe for more Jurassic content. The Jurassic Outpost store is open, and we're selling Jurassic-themed clothing, mugs, fitted masks, and much more. Head to JurassicOutpost.com/store to check it out, and check the video description for discounts and deals, including 10% discount on all Jurassic Park items in the Vice Press store. As always, head to JurassicOutpost.com for more news and information.